My formal role this morning is to introduce our graduation speaker, Mr. Christian Brown's favorite son of St. Richard's Episcopal School. But before I do that, I would be remiss if I did not share a few words with the St. Richard's Episcopal School class of 2013. Let me begin by acknowledging that our time together has been too short. It's difficult for a head of school to get to know a class of students in just 1 year, particularly a first-time head in a new school. We have talked a fair amount this year about a number of topics, and we've shared a number of fun lunches. But I would have liked to have had more in-depth conversations with each one of you. So rather than focusing on our past, I would prefer to spend time thinking about your future, and perhaps our shared future. Your post-St. Richard's career is off to a great start. Every one of you, 21 in all, has been accepted to his or her first choice for high school. Again, congratulations. But this creates a certain pressure. Should things go poorly, you cannot fall back on the old excuse that you did not want to go to that high school in the first place. The truth of the matter is you did. I'm afraid there's even more pressure. One of the main reasons you each have had so many wonderful options is that those St. Richard's graduates who have gone before you have performed well and created a reputation for St. Richard's graduates that has already helped you. Secondary schools in Indianapolis and beyond expect St. Richard's graduates to be wise and disciplined students. You know, the knowledge and values for a lifetime mantra that you've heard so often in St. Richard's. Now it's your turn to carry on the St. Richard's traditions of academic excellence, strong values, and a robust work ethic. You may have heard the phrase, the long gray line, which refers to the unending march of cadets who have graduated from the United States Military Academy since it was established in 1802. The notion is that these graduates have intense shared experiences and values that inextricably link them for the rest of their lives, and that what affects one of them affects all of them, and how one of them is perceived impacts how all of them are perceived. Perhaps St. Richard's has a long green line. While your connections to your classmates and other students, current and past parents, alumni, devoted friends of St. Richard's, may not feel as strong to you today, I think you will feel differently in the future, perhaps even in the near future. I certainly hope so, as I want you to care deeply for this special school and feel a sense of accountability to your fellow dragons. I would say a bit about failure and how important some struggles in high schools and beyond will be to your long-term success, but Mr. Browning has hinted in his letter to you that he will be addressing this topic. During my installation ceremony last fall, I mentioned Paul Hamer, a dear friend who I first met when I was a faculty intern at Culver in 1985. Paul was teaching English at the time, and he often wrote articles for the Alumni magazine, which touched me and other readers because of their deep insight into the human condition and the vulnerability we all experience as human beings. Paul's a member of Trinity Episcopal Church and has been serving as head of the English department at Park Tudor for the last few years. In one of the more humorous but touching commencement addresses I have heard, Paul closed with the following lines directed to graduating seniors. But I want to be sure you know that I have loved you in my own English teacherly way. About 90% of love is just paying attention, and you know you've had my full attention from, among other things, all those essays I handed back to you spattered with red ink. I would never admit it outside of a room like this one, that teaching is a sacred calling to me. That red ink may not have felt like the love of God, but it was emblematic of the full attention of my own stupid heart. On behalf of the entire faculty and staff, I want you to know that we love you, that you had the full attention of our own stupid hearts, that we will miss you, but that it is time for you to go. In turn, I hope that you will take the time in the days and weeks ahead to get with the teachers from St. Richard's who have had the greatest impact on your young lives and tell them that you have appreciated all of their self-efforts, that you will miss them, but that you feel prepared to get on with the next chapters of your lives. Dr. Hamer keeps a bulletin board of thank you notes from former students, and it's a continual source of inspiration for his outstanding teaching. Finally, on behalf of the Amstutz family, thank you for warmly welcoming the boys and me to St. Richard's Episcopal School. Asking, let's be honest, telling Christian to switch schools at an 8th grade was difficult for him and for me. And you've made what could have been a very difficult year, a year of new friendships and wonderful experiences. He and I will be forever grateful. On to another Christian. Christian Browning graduated from St. Richard's School in 1989. His class was the first 7th and then 8th grade class in the school's history. Christian's brothers Kevin and Michael also graduated from St. Richard's as did his sister Katie. St. Richard's was a family affair for the Brownings, and Christian's mother, Miss Anne Marie Browning, was a member of the Board of Trustees and Charity Admissions and Financial Aid Committee for a number of years. I spoke to Dr. James Fady, former Director of Admissions and History teacher at St. Richard's, about Christian, and he had the following recollections. Does this make you nervous? Christian, it's all good. Christian was smart, played sports, and had a friendly, outgoing personality. I remember him laughing a lot and having fun in 8th grade. That sounds very fitting with our current 8th grade. He and his family were always inclusive and reached out to all students in his class. He was a favorite of mine. Following St. Richard's, Christian attended Cathedral High School and then on to the University of Notre Dame. After graduating from Notre Dame, Christian moved to Mexico City, where he worked for Brightpoint for the next 2 or 3 years. In 2001, Christian, his brother Michael, and 3 of their high school buddies founded Bluefish Wireless. In 2009, Inc. magazine placed Bluefish Wireless on its prestigious list of fastest-growing private companies. Christian launched another company, MOBI Wireless, in 2007. Today, these 2 companies employ 130 people. So what's the secret sauce to the rapid growth of Christian's company? A few lines from the Bluefish Wireless website provide insight into this question. It read, culture is critical. One of the keys to creating an organization passionate about its success is creating an environment that fosters creativity. Even more, it's about empowering all levels of the organization to improve processes and solve problems on the fly. That philosophy translates into a special kind of attitude at Bluefish. Almost all the time, a little attitude can make all the difference. Christian's married to Amy, who hails from Orange County, California. They have 4 children, ages 3, 4, 5, and 7. Think about that. You with graduating 8th graders are feeling a little sorry for yourself, and think back what it's like to have children ages 3, 4, 5, and 7. Their family lives in Indianapolis. The family lives in Indianapolis, but spends about a third of the year on the West Coast. I bet I can guess which third of the year they spend on the West Coast. In addition to his family and work responsibilities, Christian serves on the Cathedral High School Board of Directors, where he's helped them with a major iPad initiative. And we are delighted that Christian is serving on the St. Richard's Foundation Board as well. Thank you for being with us today, Christian. Your contributions as an entrepreneur and as a father bring honor to our school, and we're eager to hear about your many successes and your important family.
Board President Marchesani, members of the Board of Trustees, Headmaster Amstutz, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Fisher, Father Tom, Chaplain Grace, faculty and staff, parents and grandparents, and class of 2013. For the privilege of speaking to you today, I am honored and grateful. Thank you. So here we are, commencement, life's great forward-looking ceremony. You stand on the threshold of what is sometimes called real life. In the few minutes I have today, I thought I'd share with you everything I wish I'd known starting out and some lessons that I've learned since my own graduation from St. Richard's in 1989. Growing up, my mom and dad had a sign hanging above our breakfast table that said, "Hire a teenager while they still know everything." And now that Amy and I have 4 kids, my parents' infinite wisdom has shifted to, "Son, get all your parenting in before they're 12, because after that, you're just making suggestions." So I'm hoping to have caught you guys today in a sweet spot in time between when you stopped taking any more suggestions and before we hire you as know-it-all interns at Bluefish. When I look back on the last 15 years of my work life, what stands out as much as anything are the failures that have shaped my path. Above all, you need to be acutely aware of the notion that both in life and in work, the things that go wrong are often the very things that lead to what goes right. After graduating from college, the lack of actual usefulness I was to this world was reinforced in a conversation I had with my father. Dads are great. They rarely mince words. When I broached the subject of possibly going into the family construction business, he said, and I quote, "Son, you are of no value to me. Go get a job, or do a deal, or get an MBA. Just go get some experience that will make you something of worth to me or someone else." Right, Dad, that's what I meant. He then broke down the theory of risk tolerance for me, explaining that at that particular time in life for me, and very soon for you, class of 2013, is the time to take calculated risks. It doesn't matter if you don't know what you want to do. Go try everything. When you have nothing, or better stated, when you have few responsibilities and little overhead, that is the best time to go make mistakes. Worst case is your deal or your job doesn't work out, and you fail. And then guess what? You go do another deal. And he was right. As you grow older, you become more fearful and less flexible, and I mean that literally. I hurt my knee on the treadmill this week, and it wasn't even on. When I graduated from college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I took a job with this wireless logistics company, and they shipped me out to Mexico City. 5 years into working for that same big corporation, my brother Michael, also a St. Richard's graduate, started in with his rants. Dude, those that are going to hit their home run for this company have already done so. We need to get out of here and start something on our own. And so we convinced our 3 high school buddies to quit their real jobs as well, because we were going to revolutionize the wireless industry. And I'm not sure if they were brilliant or foolish to join in our little think tank, because at that point, we had 0 revolutionary ideas, just an energetic team, wanting to create something different, and with the risk tolerance to try. We somehow figured out how to borrow just enough money to open a wireless retail store, and we had this big grand opening party in a beautiful showroom with a pretty sign out front, and guess what? We had a terrible business where for about 14 months, all we could do is barely afford to pay our rent. And we tried everything we could think of. We used to run advertisements, effectively bribing people to come into the store. Rock bottom might have been the promotion where if you come in and activate a cell phone, we'd give you a VCR. and we made pennies for the entire day's work. Our model was weak, we were a commodity, and a financial failure. But this was our time to make mistakes. If you're making mistakes, you're at least out there doing something. We totally changed directions with the business. We saw how corporate wireless programs had become exceptionally complex, and we started building a software platform with automated systems for procurement, inventory management, and controlling costs. And then we built services around the software, making the support experience like calling the concierge at the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. We closed our retail store, we moved into a pocket of office space without the distractions of the retail customers walking in the door. We were retooling, we had a better business model, a software development roadmap, and we were broke. Our girlfriends, who are now our wives, used to get together for lunch and say, "What are the boys doing at the office?" I know they're just screwing around on their computers all day long. I remember times they would corner us and say, if we're going to do payroll and each bi-weekly payroll check is going to be $94, perhaps we just shouldn't do payroll at all. And we give them lines like, yeah, well, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. And look how he's overcome failure. And they'd go, well, you ain't Jordan, and this ain't basketball, and we have 2 little kids, and in 2 years they need to go to school, and there's this little thing called tuition, so figure it out there, MJ. So I'm going to share some of the secret entrepreneurial startup scoop. For people who start businesses, get hired for projects because somehow they get hired. In our case, we did something that I realized probably doesn't look as noble once I write it on paper and speak of it in a church. But when we started out, it seemed like a sensible career strategy. This was our ethical conundrum, as Megan Rossler described it to me. In the early stages, we'd meet with potential clients, and we'd figure out what their wireless needs were, and we pretty much lied. We'd say to Intel, oh, our software does that. We already do that for Ford Motor Company. And we sounded confident, and we got contracts. Then, we'd race back to the office, gather all the software developers together in a room and say, guess what we do now? Now go build it. And then, as a matter of honor, after we'd gone and actually coded it for Intel, we'd go back and build it into Ford's platform, so we hadn't actually lied, we had just been chronologically challenged. So, you get work however you get work. But you keep work because the work is good, and because you're easy to get along with, and you deliver the work on time. And you don't even need all 3. 2 out of 3 is fine. People will tolerate how unpleasant you are if your work is good and you deliver it on time. People will forgive the lateness of your work if it's good and they like you. And you don't even have to be as good as everyone else if you're on time, and it's a pleasure to hear from you. I think it might be becoming clear why they asked me to speak at your graduation and not your orientation. So, when I agreed to give this address, I thought, what was the best advice I was ever given? And I realized it was a piece of advice I had failed to follow. It came from my wife, Amy, when she reminded me multiple times, this is really great. You should enjoy it. She saw the madness that was going on with the 2 companies, the expansion into new offices and new cities, us trying to keep up with knowing everyone's name, trying to keep the core values intact, and Amy would say, you should enjoy it. And I didn't. Instead, I worried about it. I worried about the next payroll, the next idea, the quest to take the division public. There wasn't a moment until rather recently that I wasn't wondering or worrying about it and stopped to look and say, this is really fun. I just wish that some days I had enjoyed it more. It's been an amazing ride, but there were parts of the ride I missed because I was too worried about what came next. That was the hardest lesson for me, to let go and enjoy the ride. And this concept will be no different for you guys when you walk in the door from high school. Put down your cell phone, hug your mother, and give her 8 minutes of about your day. It takes incredible discipline to routinely shut it down for a few minutes. And I promise, life is only about to get way busier for you guys. Which is my segue into your parents. Class of 2013. Would it kill you to be a little nicer to your parents? All your parents want you to do is smile and take a picture with your weird cousins. Can you do that for them with a little less eye rolling, please? Look, what you don't realize is you've already pretty much won. Your parents go to bed every night, scratching their head, saying, okay, they're teenagers, we love them, we don't understand them, and we'll leave it at that. School can be almost free. Basically, just textbooks and t-shirts. However, your parents chose a different path for you. They chose tuition and ties. They've chosen to send you to a school whose mission is teach you how to think on your own, give you a leg up on your peers in high school, and get you into heaven. Let me say this a different way. Your parents could have either sent you to St. Richard's or bought a Lamborghini. Do the math, it checks out. So, when you pull out of the St. Richard's parking lot today, one last time as a student, and if your mom is not driving a Lamborghini, you need to look over and say, thanks mom, thanks dad. Only now can I appreciate the value of my St. Richard's education. And I feel incredibly indebted to this school for where I've gotten today. In the 80s, I'm pretty sure I was just peeved that my parents made me go to school where I had to wear a tie and a green blazer. You have received a superior education. The best way to say thank you to your parents is to do something with it. So, go sign up for one extracurricular besides your role on the volleyball or the baseball team. I don't care what you do, but get off the couch and go mentor a 4th grader or help a homebound senior citizen or go intern at a company which stands for something you believe in. Stay in contact with your classmates. You've chosen Phil Collins' "You'll Be in My Heart" as your graduation song. The lyrics say, "You'll be in my heart, no matter what they say. Just look over your shoulder, I'll always be there." Some of you may end up being best of friends, and some of you may find very different paths. But look up and down the row at your classmates. Internalize the fact that you're at an advantage by graduating from this institution. Regardless of your individual passions, you're all high-caliber kids. I promise there will be plenty of opportunities down the road when you want to consult with each other on life choices, utilize each other as references for job opportunities, or, God willing, hire each other. Be worthy of your advantages and read. Read all the time. Read as a matter of principle, as a matter of self-respect. Read as a nourishing staple of life. At our company, we pay for any books and subscriptions on any topics they choose. And when I see an employee in the hallway who I don't know by name yet, my go-to line is, "Hey, I'm Christian. Yes, the ponytail is real. No, I'm not cutting it. And by the way, what are you reading? What should I be reading?" In high school, apply yourself and strive to get good grades. Not only because it affords you infinitely more opportunities for what you will do next, but it's your best defense for breaking your parents' rules. In my family, if you got good grades, the rest of the rules were softer. If you get all A's and don't get a later curfew, call me. You all have my cell phone number. Father Hesburgh at Notre Dame used to say, "My A students will change the world, and my C students will come back to endow the university." And so, don't let grades be your only metric of success, but for the next 8 years, grades are how you will be measured against your peers. So, work hard as much as you play hard. Your education will continue to be shaped by technology unlike any other generation. The digitalization of education has only begun. In Denmark, the government has taken the bold step of allowing students full access to the internet during their final exams. The only rule is they can't text each other. Think how that changes the game from asking you to memorize information to how education will demand inductive reasoning skills from you. Adaptive technology is incredible. VGO robots will allow kids with extended illnesses or physical challenges to Skype themselves into the school environment, participate in class discussions, and move throughout the campus to share in the social aspects of locker-side chats and lunchroom conversation. We use one in our office. It allows our remote employees to virtually attend meetings here at Bluefish, India. Computers have begun to think. We can each put a search word into Google, and we'll each get a different answer based on our own personal preferences. California and Nevada have legalized driverless cars. Over 300,000 driverless car test hours have been logged in the past 2 years. By the time you are old enough to have your first beer, your designated driver will be Google Maps. Google Glasses will soon provide facial recognition technology, so you won't have to remember names anymore. But if you're going to remember one thing I say today, remember what I'm about to tell you. And it's about the iPhone that's in your pocket. With that smart device comes incomprehensible responsibilities and challenges. I will tell you, the single biggest risk and temptation you will face throughout high school and college is your right thumb. Before you tweet, before you text, before you post, you need to stop and think twice. Because once you send it, it's out there forever. Over and over, my friends and I have had the conversation. Can you imagine how much trouble we would have gotten into in high school if we had smartphones? It's almost unfair to you guys. Because in hindsight, we got so many more do-overs than you will get. Here's the thing. You're good kids. And even good kids say hurtful things on occasion. I'm not sure I know how else to frame it besides smile big, because from here on out, in social situations, you're probably on camera, and what you say and what you do will probably end up on YouTube. And so finally, as you commence and scatter to the winds, I leave you with the 4 pages they forgot to print in life's little instruction book. First, relax. It totally doesn't matter. You barely cracked the adventures of Tom Sawyer. It's never going to come up. Ever. You're safe now. Second, while you're still young, stay up and watch the end of Monday Night Football. After the age of 35, it's physically impossible. Third, you can under karaoke, but definitely don't over karaoke. And lastly, don't sweat being current about music. 2 Rolling Stones and 2 Van Morrison albums, and you're set for life. And so, class of 2013, congratulations, good luck, be brave, work hard, and amazing things will happen.